Is 6 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 meeting of the Elementary School Building Committee for the Charleswood School Project. I'll quickly run through the agenda and then we will try to move through it pretty expeditiously tonight because it feels like a light one. So after our public comment opportunity, we will approve or we'll seek approval of the minutes of our last meeting. We will approve invoices. I don't know if we have any changes that we need to approve, but I'll look at Chris is shaking his head. So we don't have any changes to approve tonight. We will get a construction update and a street improvements update, as well as the MSBA PFA bid amendment submission. And then I think we'll probably in the construction update, we'll talk about like the drone photography proposal as well.
Right.
And so we will try to wrap all of this up certainly by 7 o'clock this evening. So I will start out with our usual opportunity for public comment. Looking through the window here, I don't see anyone from the public who is here. So we will go past public comment. And if anyone joins, I will open it up to the committee if we want to open the window for public comment back up. Next, we have included in your packet were the minutes of our July 15th, 2025 meeting. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Okay, hearing none, I would seek a motion to approve the minutes of the July 15th, 2025 Elementary School Building Committee meeting as included in the packet.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mike, a second by Jagroot. We will, again, meeting is fully virtual tonight, so we will be doing a roll call vote. Bill?
Yes.
Chris Masters?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Jagroot?
Yes.
And I am a yes. So assuming I didn't miss anybody, that is a 5-0 unanimous. And I got to rearrange my Zoom windows so that I make sure I get all the voting members. Okay, so next we have invoices. In your packet, you have an invoice package that includes 4 invoices, one for Vertex, invoice number OPM 11640 in the amount of $100,197.75. One for Perkins Eastman, invoice number 009542100020 in the amount of $129,672.99. And one for Break Builders, invoice number APP02 in the amount of $1,169,361.18. And finally, one for Local IQ New England, 00070731777 in the amount of $60.27. 3 of those are, I believe, just our standard monthly invoices for our professional teams. And then the Local IQ one, Chris, Kenny, that's for advertising generally, right?
Exactly. That was advertising for the road improvements project, public notice that went out, legal notice.
And that's a requirement of the bid process. So
correct.
The total of the 4 invoices that we are seeking approval for tonight is $1,399,292.19. Are there any questions or comments about any of the invoices? Hearing none, I would seek a motion to approve the invoice package totaling $1,399,292.19.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay, we have a motion by Bill, a second by Mike. Bill?
Yes.
Jagroot?
Yes.
Chris Masters?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
And I'm a yes, so those invoices are paid. are authorized to be paid. 5-0 unanimous. Susan, I will sign that tonight and email it over to you. Okay, and it was indicated that we do not have any changes to approve. So next we have construction update, and I will turn it over to Chris Kenny for that.
Thanks, John. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And go through the, stop sharing for a second. Try this again. This is the construction update. It's essentially an excerpt from the material that was sent as part of the package, our monthly report, but I'll go through it at a kind of high level. This is the opportunity, if there are any questions, to please go ahead and interrupt and ask questions on this material or the material that was in the monthly report, and we'll answer any questions. So we'll see this every month, the dashboard. The first page of it's a very high level report on safety schedule, budget, quality, security, and technologies. And if there are any issues, the column to the left is green. If there are any issues that come up in the future, it may go to yellow as a heads up that something's coming, and then red when there's a potentially significant issue coming that will need some attention. Right now, everything is green. We're underway and proceeding per schedule. Just a reminder here, substantial completion is October 21st, 2027. So we're on track for that. Budget, total project budget, $158,422,394. The commitments to date of that 158 are $158,871,739. About 75% of that total budget's been committed. And then the expenditures to date are $12,192,005, about 10.2% of the total budget has been expended to date. Moving on, just an
Chris?
Yep.
If you don't mind, just have one question. If you go back up that one slide for a moment.
Sure.
Thank you. The commitments to date, does that include the FF&E in there as well as the construction?
The FF&E has not been committed to date with a purchase order, so it's in the budget number, but not the committed number yet.
So what's in the committed number other than the 102 million for construction? What's the additional 17 million?
It's fees for the design team, all the costs to get through the design phases, all the expenses related to bidding, et cetera. So it's essentially all the contracts that have been let out and packages.
Since the beginning of the project or since the beginning of the construction phase?
Beginning of the project.
Right. So this includes essentially this includes the feasibility study too, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is it possible next time to get a breakdown of that everything above and beyond the 102 million? Because I just have a little better understanding of that. It seems like such a big number. Is that something that's possible?
It is, and if you bear with me, what I can do is go through this, Bill, and then the vendor invoice package that came has the entire commitments broken down by line, and you can see what was committed in the feasibility schematic phase. And then for us, for Perkins Eastman, for their consultants, for the contractor, it's all broken down.
That's great. Thank you.
Yep. Remind me as we get through it. Just an overall construction site overview. This is the limit of work diagram that was in the documents. I thought it was good because it's kind of clear to talk about the stage that we're in right now. Up to the top of the image to the north is the Marathon School, and to the west is the entrance at 147 Hayden Row Street. The rectangle in the middle here is the kind of processing area for the contractor at the moment. This will be the playing fields in the ultimate design. And then to the right, to the east, is the footprint of the building dashed out. As of now, this is really, this report is basically through July. We're further in. All the tree clearing has been done, and the contractors are working through preparing the soils and getting ready for the foundations, which will be starting in a couple weeks. So they're moving ahead quickly. Construction fence is almost 100% installed around this perimeter limit of work. The green lines and the blue lines are some erosion control protection that's been installed. This blue line to the south is kind of the bottom. It's sloping down towards that end, so there's extra protection along that side. The darker lines that you see are the temporary roads. They're in the process of installing those temporary roads. Those roads do become the permanent roads in the ultimate condition. The construction entrances, both at Hayden Row Street and at Marathon, have been installed. The gates are in place, and the substrate is in roughly to the area where the processing is going on. A detail here, this shows the area right at the Hayden Row Street, 147 Hayden Row Street, the entrance in a little more detail. The trailer for the contractor, the brake trailer, scheduled to go here, and then we'll have a on-site presence and office adjacent to it right here. This roadway's in all the way up to this area, and the trailers are scheduled for delivery on Thursday of this week. They'll be set up Friday, and then next week will be the temporary power connections, setting them up with water and tanks, and then the thought is we'll be on site in the trailers the first week of September. So all seems to be on schedule. The house at 147 was demolished last Thursday, backfilled on Friday, and they're working this week just to finalize this construction entrance here to make it easier for large trucks to come and go, to minimize the impact to any traffic flow along Hayden Row Street. So that's being refined. Any questions so far about the site or layout? I thought I'd go through some pictures of what's been happening to date. The first step they did was install this erosion control through the perimeter of the limit of work. In addition to that, as part of the order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. In addition to that, there were buffer zones for the wetlands, and additional tree protection was installed around those. You can see the image to the left is looking back towards the Marathon School. This is will be this, in the final condition, the access road, but in the current condition, a temporary egress road only. The gates now locked in anticipation of the teachers coming back the end of this week and or next week, and students coming on the 27th, 28th, 29th. image to the right is just the tree clearing that went on to remove trees from the area. Proceeded through that relatively easily. After the trees were cleared, the contractor was in to install the temporary sedimentation basins, again, as part of the order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. The temporary construction entrance at Hayden Rose Street was installed, and then the temporary roadway that extends back into the site is also being installed and is continuing to be installed around the loop road. More images of the site clearing at sequence 3. This is that area where they're stockpiling materials right now. Ultimately, it'll be the area for the playing fields that are being installed. And then just the amount of earthwork to get the temporary roadwork in. You can see the full perimeter condition now with the erosion control and then the site fence. Along the borders where there are neighbors, there's a scrim on the fencing to keep dust and debris contained within the site. And then the roadway construction back from Marathon entrance shown in the image to the right. Any questions? A high level, the progress in the month of July was the tree clearing, the entrances being installed, the erosion control, the site stabilization for the soils. And then in addition, there was Passive House kickoff meeting, and the demo permit was applied for and submitted. The contractor submitted their construction management plan. We've been going back and forth with them on refinements of that, but we're ready to get that final approval. Construction schedule was submitted. Again, we sent our comments back, and then the schedule of values for the project. That's the breakdown of that total costs by trade for the entirety of the project. In addition, we did receive, I think we talked last month about the bids for the roadway improvements. So this month, we're looking to get a temporary irrigation well installed and the permitting involved in that. The building permit was submitted and the contractor is following up. Oftentimes in these conditions, in these instances, they'll grant a foundation permit that'll let the work continue while they review the entire set of documents. So we'll be looking for that. Submittal schedule. So the contractor is refining the submittal schedule. Submittals are in process, but we're getting a final schedule for that to be able to plan and manage that work. Shop drawing for and the product submittals for the steel and long lead time items have been submitted, so those have been processed. Steel is being fabricated as we speak. And then concrete foundation waterproofing pre-construction meetings are happening. And the roadway improvement award is also underway. We've sent the notice of award to J.H. Lynch and are in the process of working with the town to get that contract fully executed and get them engaged on the project. Any questions on the schedule update?
Chris, it seems like where it says next month, that's really this month, right? And then
yeah, correct. It was through July. You know, our monthly report is kind of a lag. So now that we're halfway through August, there's a little overlap. Some of this next month look ahead has already occurred.
Okay. Can we somehow rectify that just to avoid confusion? Because
We
this,
sure can. Yep.
this meeting is, the date of this meeting is the reference point. So
Yeah.
next month would mean these items would happen in September, so that there could be some confusion.
Makes sense. This, as I said, beginning was excerpted out of the monthly report. So to avoid confusion, we kept it similar, but I agree with you. We can bring it up to date for the purposes of this discussion each month.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Chris, not a question, but just answer to Bill's question. If you go to page 174 of the invoice package, that gives you all the detail by line item, if you will, and that can get you to reconcile to that total committed spent, left to spend. But it's there in the invoice package. It's page 174 is where that starts.
And I believe commitments to date is column I on that.
Yes.
I think it's 3 pages, but it's at the bottom. But it's
Yes.
column I. And then the expenditures are column J, just to help.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Change order update. No change orders have been issued yet. There was a PCO, which is a pending change order. 2 of them have been submitted by the contractor and are under review. They've been approved by the design team, and we're in the process of packaging them up for processing. The total amount for those 2 to date is $32,399. So again, going back to our protocols that were reviewed, I think in the May meeting about approvals, this is more than 25,000, but less than 75,000. So we'll be working with Susan to get these approved, and then they'll be combined into a change order that we'll be reporting on monthly with this group. And just a little more detail regarding some of the budget items, the architect's contract value as it stands, and then the OPM contract value as it stands, the expenditures for the month that we talked about with the vendor invoice package, and then the contractor's contract quality. So this is where the change orders will start to appear. So we'll track that here also. As John mentioned, as part of the construction, we're proposing drone photography documentation once a month, and we've reached out to 4 vendors. We got proposals that were in the package that was distributed, the meeting packet, and we're ready to make a recommendation to approve Greater Boston Drones. This would be a consistent record of the progress of construction every month. We think it's a good tool to have to also for community outreach and communication to let people know. As Jagrut mentioned earlier, you know something's going on back there, but you can't quite see it. So I think a drone, both still images and a 3-minute video that could be posted on a website that people that are interested could see the progress. And that would be budgeted. It's a per month fee, but we've budgeted 26 months. So we can adjust if there are months, once the building is fully enclosed, you won't be able to see much with a drone. So we can adjust future months to make sure that we're documenting change.
Yeah, I will mention on this one, I do agree with it, as Jagger said, something's going on, but the building is set so far back. Having walked the site recently, it's even further back, like proportionally than I had even been thinking. So this will give the community an opportunity to really see the progress and see the as it as it built. Chris, where would the 500 a month come from? What's the line item?
I believe we had a budget for other. I'll go back and check.
Yeah, I think I recall. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the total, and we have, it would be through us. We would contract with them and bill for it. So there's a small markup for us, but I think it came to roughly 13,000 budgeted for this 26 months.
Any questions on this or reactions to the idea?
Yeah, John. Couple of things. The contractor owes us photographs, 20 per month, that would give a good, idea of what's going on. Not a flyover, but their photograph. That's one thing. It's already in the budget. The other thing is, of course, as someone mentioned, that we're going to get to the point where we're going to want interior photos. And I suspect that the flyover is not going to help us with that. Maybe we'll get those from the contractor. The other thing is, it may be a good opportunity for the high school and some art student, and I know these kids do these drone things all the time, and it may be an opportunity for them to be able to do it and reduce the cost for us. Then part of it for me is the cost. We already have pictures. We already own those. And even though it's, relatively chump change compared to the overall budget, it's just another thing that we have to pay for that I don't think we really need. That's just my 2 cents. I'll let you know ahead that I'm going to vote against it. But
Okay.
Do it for free.
And just to follow up on that, are all of your other projects right now that you folks are involved in, schools specifically, utilizing a drone for photos? And
We are not utilizing a drone for the additions.
well, no, I'm sorry, I meant to Chris.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All the other projects, is this kind of a given or nice to have?
It depends on the client. It's a community. It was seen as a community outreach benefit. To Mike's point, yes, the contractor is responsible, and going back to the site plan for a minute, their construction management plan has a camera located roughly here for the project, so there'll be consistent photographs of at least what can be seen from a light pole, at roughly this location as the structure of the building goes up. Once the structure's up and enclosed, you're not going to be able to catch the detail. One thought was, the drone would be able to, fly in, fly around the site in a almost an autonomous pattern, the same pattern every month as a way to kind of show month-to-month progress. But I don't disagree with, the comments that have been made where, yes, there are photographs. Daily, the contractor takes photographs, and we take photographs, so there's no shortage of documentation that can be called and used. We pulled out some for our monthly report. What we try to do is show every month, almost on a weekly basis, the best, most descriptive photos. So maybe the best of those could be compiled into a monthly report for the community if that was seen. We were just thinking, given the size and scope of the site, that a drone would be more effective way to capture.
Well, would it be possible to consider doing this on a quarterly basis or every 2 months? I mean, every 2 months would literally cut the cost in half. Is that a potential option?
Yes, everything's a potential. It's $395 per session. So we can do them as much or as little as people want.
Okay, so I think for the community involvement, there's some legitimacy there. It seems monthly seems a bit of overkill. Quarterly would come in probably around 5,000, wouldn't it? I mean, if I'm doing the math, it's 13 for 26, so half of that would be 7 or 6 and 5. So yeah, $4,500 would get us quarterlies.
Yep.
Again, you can check the math on it, but.
And I don't, it doesn't matter to me that 13,000 or the 5,000 seems to be a rounding error on this project, but I have a drone. I've taken them off schools. I'll do it for free. You want them done once a month, once a quarter.
There you go.
I mean, I know, I get it. It's minimal savings, but if we want to save the money, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the offer, Chris, and I also go back to what Mike was saying. I don't know if there might even be an opportunity for, a student project or something like that who might want to do it. So.
And
I
can jump in on that, John. Sorry, I'm new to this whole thing. I apologize, but I can certainly check with our visual arts department to see if we can get some students involved, and then maybe they can work with you, Chris. You guys can.
Yeah, I'm happy to work with them. If you guys I have one. I've taken them of schools in Hopkinton, a project we're doing in Stowe. So I'm happy to do it. If the school wants to do it, I won't do it, but just offering it. So happy to help if you need me.
Appreciate it. Okay, so I think then, given the conversation, I think we'll table this unless anybody feels differently, and then we will just look at potential alternatives for how we can get the same output without the contracting.
Right.
Chris, I'd be interested to see if there's any construction benefit to having those types of aerial photos, like any other district or any other project that you guys have worked on that they say, yeah, we've used these for something other than just being transparent with the community, something that was tangible to a project.
Yeah, I'll check with my colleagues. I know we're doing something for LaSalle Village at LaSalle University in Newton monthly. And again, it's one of my colleagues actually has the license and has been doing it, but I'll check to see with them if they're using it for anything more than PR, the PR basis. I know our forensics group use them a lot for documentation, getting facades and other parts of the building, detail. We won't have that issue because we'll have full access to the outside of this building while it's being built. So it sounds like I think we can achieve the same purpose with a different means and save some money. And like I said, there will be no shortage of photographs for this project. So
yeah, and it may be another approach too is if we can hone in on the construction schedule to see when the drone footage becomes negligible to us, right? So maybe it's 8 months in and we're saving, however many months left over of, so maybe just, I know we kind of threw a project budget number out there for 23 months, but it's 12 months in, we may have a completed kind of facade of a building, right? So
right.
I want to look at that too, and we can hone in that number and maybe it becomes something more palatable. And I'm not for or against it. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And it was uncertain of how much site activity is going to be going on while they're fitting out the building, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's a lull and then it picks up again. And I think we've already missed a couple of opportunities with because the clearing happened so quickly, that having it in stages would have been something, but they went in and in days had big areas cleared, and then the roadway work was right behind them, so. But I'll find out if there's a hidden benefit that we can use. Any of the drone footage for. Anything else on this? The last item I had, John mentioned, was the MSBA project funding agreement bid amendment submission. So now that we've gotten the roadway contractor's schedule of values, we have a completed package to submit. That's due on Thursday. It includes both contractors' schedule of values, MSBA's cost estimate comparison form that was in the previous submissions and now gets updated with the final contractors' bids. They ask for a separate breakout for the vinyl asbestos tile that was in the house at 147. So we got that from the contractor. No tank removal, and there were no pre-construction services, as this was a GC project, a general contractor, not a construction manager. So those are not applicable. We did get a certification from HEAP, the town council, regarding the use of the bid savings. And then we've compiled all of the construction documents. That's the bid set plus all of the addenda, and have that ready, that link ready to submit to the MSBA. And then the last item is just, there are 3 stages to the designer evaluation. The first was during the feasibility stage, and then they ask for a design stage, which is at 100% construction documents where we are, so we've completed that. And then they'll ask us again at the end of construction, and that's a requirement from MSBA via DCAM. So that's been completed. Susan, you might be getting a notification on that for sign off.
Okay.
And we can work with you. And then we have a form from the MSBA that I'll send you tomorrow that you can sign off on it and send it back to us for inclusion in this package.
Yep.
Chris, I got one question.
Go ahead, Dan.
I'd be interested to know, I mean, I know it's like super short money, and it's probably more for my own knowledge or my own later use. The asbestos tile, that's in a house, that's not in a school building. So usually what they get annoyed about is when they feel like the district should be removing the asbestos in their own school buildings, and if they don't, that's what they deduct, right? But this isn't that. So I wonder if we could stick this back in their noses and make them reimburse on it.
That's what I'll do. I had the same thought, Dan, that the intent of it was to kind of, deduct. In this case, there wasn't, there was nothing the district could have done prior to this, and it's just the cost of this particular site. It is short money, but my thought was to hold it out, send it as a separate attachment with that note on it that this is not related to a school building renovation.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what they say.
Yeah. So we're on the same page there.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay.
Well, John, the other question I have, I guess
go ahead.
it's appropriate, is at what point would we as a group or even individually be able to go on the site and just kind of take a look?
And I can answer that, Bill. Anytime you want to go out, you can just send me an email. I'll be out there 2 or 3 days a week and be able to tour you around at any. We went out with John last week, and it's really helpful. So, late in the day is a good time when the workers are gone, but we can do it at any time. We can do it during break. We can do it during lunch. anytime that works for you. I'm happy to tour anyone from this group or anyone else that would like to observe the progress. So you can go through me.
All right, that's very kind. Thank you. And my last question, I guess, is for you and John. I think we've got the next meeting is September 16th. Do we have an October on the books now, or November? Or are we to the point that we can look that far ahead?
Let me work with John. I think what we tried to do because of summer vacations was, do July and June, July, and August and get those out. But I think we can go ahead and set the next ones, take us up maybe through December and get those on the books.
It looks to me, Bill, and my memory is that the September one is the last one that we have scheduled. So you can look for, probably don't want to wait till the next meeting, but we'll do a kind of a virtual send out what the rest of the year should look like to give people that heads up.
Thank you.
And people can flag if there are any challenges.
Bill, I'd just add on if there's ever an opportunity for you to go there, just keep in mind that, I think we'd require everybody, including any of us to check in with the site super and then follow all safety procedures for the site, hard hats, vests, and all the cautionary stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. That was good. We will have PPE on site available for visitors. Footwear is the often thing people forget. There's a lot of stuff to step over and through once we get going. So good footwear is important.
Okay. Well, if there is nothing else, I would seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Usually don't have that much trouble getting that motion.
Second?
Okay, I've got a motion by Bill, a second by Jagroot. Roll call vote. Bill?
Yes.
Jagroot?
Yes.
Mike? You're on mute.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
No problem. And Chris Masters?
Yes.
And I am a yes, so it is unanimous 5-0. We are adjourned at 6:43 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, as always, to HCAM for broadcasting and recording, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night, everyone.